Hi, I'm Magaibo, and today I'm going to give you a basic beginner's overview to Eve Online, the HAVOC expansion, specifically pirate insurgency and faction warfare. Now, the first thing you're going to want to know probably is, how do you enroll as a pirate? And if you go into activities, you will see that there is this new option called Insurgencies. If you want to join the insurgency, you open the faction selection and you choose your side. Well, of course, I want to be a pirate. And you can choose between Gueristas or Angel Cartel. And for the purposes of this video, we'll go with Angel Cartel. And it tells you cannot enlist here, but it tells you can go to GTAC 0Q86, which fortunately is a system that is directly accessible from Zarzak, which isn't that big of a surprise. So after jumping into Zarzak, simply warp to the GTAC 0 gate and then jump through. And then dock at 7 Moon 1 Guardian Angels Assembly Plant. Now that I'm docked, I can return to the Insurgency screen, open faction selection, and click on Enlist Me. And I am now part of the Insurgency. And now you're going to be able to go back to Zarzak and dock in the Fulcrum Station and see the station in a way that only Angel Cartel pilots can see it. You've got access to a different part of the station. So with the HAVOC expansion, we can dock up in the Deathless Station in Zarzak, known as the Fulcrum. Everyone can now dock at the Fulcrum Station in Zarzak. Guerista, Angel Cartel pilots and non-pirate pilots will all occupy a different part of the station, so it will look different. Pirate pilots can use the clone bay and the LP store, and they get a reduction in manufacturing costs. Pirates in Zarzak can also use the shipcasters, which will take them directly to the areas that we're about to talk about, the Insurgencies. The Insurgencies are the areas of faction warfare space that are going to be affected by these new pirate mechanics. The Insurgencies begin with the placement of an FOB, forward operating base, in a war zone. This starts what's called the forecasting period. There is no immediate action, and this is just a short window giving the militia and the pirate pilots a small amount of time to get their stuff into position and to prepare for the full insurgency. In this case, the pirate fob is in flow swing. After the forecasting period is the main phase, and that's when activities begin. Pirates can increase corruption value by completing insurgent activities, anomalies. When the corruption value hits 3, the insurgency will spread to adjacent systems. There is no forecasting period for the new systems, and activities begin immediately, but they will not spread to systems with a security status of 0.8 or above, or 0.0. Pirates reach their target score, they will seize the FOB system as their own, and this will trigger 2 events. Firstly, all the other systems with that pirate insurgency will see their corruption value increase to the next stage. And secondly, the Fob system will be removed from the faction warfare warzone, and neighbouring warzone systems will become front lines. If the militia reach their target score, Fob becomes vulnerable. If it's destroyed, the militia win, and all systems in the insurgency have the suppression value increased by 1. Participating pilots get rewards which can be tracked in the insurgency window. At any point there will be 2 insurgencies, one in the Caldari Galente war zone, which will be Guerista pilots, and one in the Amar Mimitar, which will be Angel Cartel pilots. And because you're at war, Empire military police will attack pirate pilots. So pilots enrolled with the Gueristas will be attacked by faction police in high-sec Caldari Galente space. and Angel Cartel enrolled pilots will be attacked by faction police in Amar and Minmatar space. Note, Angel and Gurista are not at war with each other. Now that I've described the mechanics, let's see what it actually looks like. So to find the Fob system from Zazak is really quite straightforward. After undocking from the top of the fulcrum into the rather smoky, dusty atmosphere, what you have to do is make sure that you can see the shipcaster in your overview and then simply warp to it. The shipcaster is like a Stargate that will take you directly to the center of the action. It can only be used by Angel Cartel and Gurista pilots, and the Angel Cartel pilots can only use it to go to the system with their fob in it. And it alternates every couple of minutes, and all you have to do is get close enough and click Initiate Launch. And if you do it within the little window where it's open to the fob system, it'll take you directly there. And you get Cloak Timer. Now that we're in the fob system, if we right click in space, we will see a couple of different things. We will see the fob itself, so that it will take you to within tether range of the fob. So there's a little chance of ambush, but not much. Right clicking in space will give you the fob, but it will also give you these anomalies. And you can see that, like faction warfare, the plexes appear under combat sites. And there are two different sorts. There are the Amar sites, which can be completed by the militia to increase the suppression number, the suppression value, and the Angel sites to be completed by the pirates, which will increase the value of the corruption in the system. And we can see in this system that corruption is at 4 and suppression is at 1. So a corruption value of 4 for the pirates means that there is a +2 warp speed multiplier applied to the pirates, and level 1 suppression means that there is a +5% to pirate NPC bounties and security status gain for the militia pilots. So if we look again at the anomalies that are here, we've got a laundering facility, a medium outpost raid, and a small outpost raid. And as you can see from the ADV, that means that pirate frigates can enter, pirate ships. And by pirate ships, I mean non-Navy or standard T1 ships. So this is where we're going to start to see the difference from faction warfare plexes. We enter the plex. Because I'm an Angel pilot entering an Angel plex, I do not get the suspect timer. And we can immediately see that there are both friendly and hostile NPCs. They do fight, but they cause relatively little damage to each other, and I don't see many people losing ships. Quite often when you see a Modu's rat in a belt, it can mean trouble, because they can be quite nasty little things. But these ones are a lot softer. They shouldn't really be affecting PvP between pilots. But while they're there, you can see that the countdown at the plex stops. They don't leave any wrecks, and now that they're gone, the countdown begins again. And because I'm in test, there's very little risk. If you're inside a plex on Tranquility, you will want to keep a note on who else is in system, and in particular who else is about to enter the plex. So the advantage of having NPCs here who will cause damage to you regardless of which side you're on is that we should see the end of bots that run faction warfare plexes with unfit ships. If I just go into activities and insurgencies, I want to point out a fantastic guide that's actually in the client. So you go into Insurgencies and you click Learn More, and it gives you lots of details about the different aspects of pirate insurgency. We noticed when we clicked in space there that there was pirate laundering facilities. And the description here is provided for each of the different insurgency activities that you'll see out with normal plexes. And it tells us here that the pirate laundering facilities is where we can exchange loot that we find for special reward crates. The thing about these NPCs as well is that occasionally they will scram you, which is another great thing in the fight against bots or pilots who don't want to engage, is that sometimes they will have no choice. Well, what I will say is that as of right now in test, the center of the Plex has two beacons. One is Angel Small Outpost Raid and one says 30 kilometer small corporate capture point. If you approach the small outpost raid, it will actually take you to the edge of the beacon, 30 kilometers out. So what I'm doing is just orbiting the second one, which is the one that says 30 kilometers, which is actually the center. This could change before the rollout of Havoc on Tranquility. The corruption value here is at 80%. If corruption reaches level 5 in a low-sec system, it means that it will no longer be a faction warfare system. The systems around it that are faction warfare will become front lines. Bombs and bubble launchers will be allowed. Sentry guns will be disabled. If a neighbouring system is high security space and there is stage 5 corruption reached, then attacks on capsuleers in ships will give only a suspect timer. People will not go criminal and be attacked by Concord if they shoot someone else's ship. They will if they kill their pod or attack or aggress a pod, but not for ships. Just for fun here, what I'm flying is a Mamba destroyer. Something which I'm currently unable to afford in Tranquility. But it's a fun ship with both rockets or light missiles, which is what I'm using here. We bring up the Insurgency map here, and Flowswin here is the Fob System. That's the center of all the activities. This is where the Insurgency begins and from where the Insurgency could spread. And this is one of the potential spots where an Insurgency can begin for Angel Cartel because it is part of Minmatar Amar faction warfare space. For the Garistas, it could be anywhere in Galente, Kaldari faction warfare space. So what we're going to see following the introduction of pirate insurgency is more blurring of the lines between high-sec, low-sec and null-sec space. We've seen it before with insurgencies from drifters, from trigs in the past, where what was traditionally safe, high security space has provided NPC danger. But this is slightly different in that it's going to allow pilots to do what would have been traditionally criminal actions in high security space, if the right conditions are met. You will need to be aware if you're planning a journey, particularly for freighters or if you're using autopilot, that some of the systems on the way, while they may be high sec, they may have corruption to level 5, which means you could be attacked legitimately in space. So the timer reaches 0. You get a standings increase with Angel Cartel, and you get your loyalty points awarded. And we also see a small increase to the corruption level. All the rats now disappear. The other thing to bear in mind is that normal faction warfare rules still apply. So this is currently a stable Amar frontline system, but Minmatar can come in here and start to tilt things the other way. So the Insurgency map will show me the systems round and about, and the ones in the circles are affected by the Insurgency. And by clicking on them we can see the different stages of corruption and suppression at each system. So as I'm walking around, I'm noticing that there are groups of NPC Angel Cartel ships at gates and at stations. So I'm assuming that they are going to start to aggress pilots who aren't part of their faction. Amar pilots, Minmatar pilots, with whom they are at war. So they're blue to me, these destroyers and cruisers and frigates. But if you're Minmatar or Amar enrolled faction warfare pilots, imagine that they're going to aggress you. So that's something else you need to be aware of in faction warfare in the insurgency systems. So now that we've stored up and collected a little bit of LP, I'm going to show you how to trade that in, how to cash that in, and what you can buy. Now we came to the insurgency system with the Fob through the shipcaster from Zazak. That's a one-way trip. You can't get a shipcaster back. You have to go back by going to one of the stargates that takes you up to Zazak. And that's what I'm going to do just now. Now, fortunately, I'm only one jump or two jumps. Fortunately, I'm only one jump away from Turner, which is one of the systems that's got the Zazak stargate in it. To see the LP you've collected, you go into my wallet and hit LP. As you can see here, the corporation that I'm being rewarded by is Malachim Zealots. And it says the closest loyalty point store is none, but that is actually in Zazak, in the Fulcrum. So let's dock up in the Fulcrum. And a loyalty point store is accessed through this button. And here you can see all of the different items that you can trade in your loyalty points for. And right at the top there is the Azariel, which is the new Angel Titan, and that will only cost you 150 million LP and 150 billion ISK. That's just for the blueprint. You've got the materials and the building costs as well. Other things you can buy include blueprints for implants, action mods, Macarial blueprints, plenty of implants, and we've got more of the new ship blueprints as well. So I can actually purchase a couple of these blueprints here. So hopefully I've given you a little insight into pirate insurgency, faction warfare, how it all works together, corruption and suppression, the different kind of sites that you can see and how they work, how to access them, the shipcaster, Zazak, the Fulcrum, the LP store. My advice to you would be to get in, get your hands dirty, do it yourself, and let me know how you get on. I'm Magaibo, thanks for watching, enjoy Havoc, and I'll see you again next time.